Self-directed learning. The overview of this SDL video. SDL for students. Self-directed learning is defined as a 21st century skill encompassing the following features. Number 1, ownership of learning. This means personal responsibility in identifying learning gaps and setting learning goals. Number 2, management and monitoring of own learning. This means the process of managing tasks, time, and resources, as well as the ongoing efforts of making improvements or taking actions to meet the learning goals. And number 3, extension of own learning. This means making links across disciplines, connections between formal and informal learning, as well as interests in and out of school. Self-directed learning can be understood as a spectrum ranging from low to high degrees of self-direction. At low degrees of self-direction, students demonstrate low ownership of learning. They are dependent on teachers to direct learning, they are unable to manage and monitor their own learning, and are limited to resources provided in the classroom. At high degrees of self-direction, students demonstrate high ownership of learning, they identify and commit to learning goals, and they are skillful in managing and monitoring their own progress of learning. They also extend their learning beyond the school's curriculum. These are 5 characteristics of the self-directed learning process. And these are 6 characteristics of a self-directed learner. So, what is the role of teachers in facilitating SDL for students? There are 3 phases. Firstly, student-teacher learning partnership. This means providing students with autonomy in task design, and this can be done by providing them with Number 1, organizational autonomy. This means allowing students choice to manage their learning environment, such as where to learn and with whom to learn with. Number 2, procedural autonomy. This means allowing students choice to manage the form of their work. For example, how to present their project or the materials and resources to use. And number 3, cognitive autonomy. This means the ownership of learning process where they can ask questions and solve problems independently. This takes the form of facilitating students towards asking questions about their own learning gaps so that learning goals can be established and students can conceptualize their task designs towards their learning gaps. The second phase, conditions for student self-management and monitoring of their learning. While monitoring students' learning and providing just-in-time assistance, it is important for teachers to correct errors of understanding with respect to understanding of content, yet provide sufficient autonomy for students to explore their project conceptions and plans. Students have to learn how to monitor themselves with respect to time and effort. Scaffolding of student self-monitoring could take the form of rubrics of performance. And number 3, experiences for extension of students' learning. This third phase focuses on what teachers can do to enhance the authenticity of students' learning by helping students make connections between what they have learned and their personal lives. Teachers should provide opportunities for students to think about what they currently know and how the new content to be learned may enhance its depth and scope. Teachers may encourage reflection of learning where students reflect on what they learned and what they know. The engagement of students in reflection invariably involves the use of their prior knowledge. The SDL experience should not be a vacuum. So what is the role of technology in facilitating SDL for students? These are possible ICT tools to aid students in phase 1, which is to develop students' ownership of learning. These are possible ICT tools to aid students in phase 2, which is to develop students' self-management and monitoring skills. And these are the possible ICT tools to aid students in Phase 3, which is to provide students with opportunities to extend their learning. In conclusion, self-directed learning is a key 21st century skill because of the types of learners it develops and its dispositions it emphasizes. Hence, instructional approaches in schools should be broadened to better facilitate self-directed learning with its 3 salient features, bearing in mind that one size does not fit all.